So right now, about 80% of our business comes direct to consumer. So we're marketing through Meta and Google and paid media channels like that, along with just our organic channels. But I think what was really a huge catalyst and something that allows us to be profitable in that space, which is super competitive and super saturated, is we've been fortunate enough to get our product into the hands of lots of athletes. Well, I'd say our core demographic is business travelers and males who are in cities or frequent travelers for business, leisure.
Xander and Ryan, what's up, guys? How are you?
Doing well, Mark. How are you doing? Thanks for having us.
Oh, thanks for taking some time. I know, this is the day before the 4th that we're filming this, and I'm sure there's a lot going on. You guys have any plans for the 4th of July weekend?
Yeah, we'll both be we're both based in New York, but we're going to be out in the Hamptons this weekend with some friends and family. So beachside lobster bake one night, and then besides that, hopefully some tennis and some sure some drinking games with some buddies. So it should be a nice weekend in the beach.
Oh, that's awesome. You guys are living the New York dream for 4th of July weekend in the Hamptons. That
Yeah,
sounds amazing.
I'm gonna be working on it. I had no idea Xander was planning all that. So enjoy.
Someone needs to hold down the fort.
All right, guys. Well, we're really excited to have you on today. With that being said, before we talk about how you guys got started building FTL, I'd love to hear a little bit more about your background and what were you guys doing before you guys actually got together to start this brand?
Yeah, so Ryan and I are lifelong friends. We've known each other since we were probably 6 years old. Our parents were friends. We grew up together. So we have years and years and years of friendship behind this, which has been amazing and helped us so much. We went to middle school through high school together. Then I went to Northwestern in Chicago. Ryan went off to Cornell. And then we both found ourselves working corporate jobs. Shortly after college, I was working in product management at a large bank on the fintech side of things, helping them create new products for their small business customers to better manage their business, their cash flows, get better insights and education around kind of the financial well-being of their small business. And so I really came from an engineering product design background, but mostly focused on the software side of things, not so much professionally focused on the kind of more hardware physical products. So it was a little bit of a departure for me going to FTL, but there was a lot of carryover and just kind of how you think about product and product design and development. And Ryan, I'll let you talk about kind of your path.
Yeah, I came from a corporate real estate background. Worked at a few different firms for about 8 years total before we made the full-time leap to FTL. So like Xander, very different from a day-to-day perspective, but I think led to a lot of the inspiration behind FTL and why we both decided that there was a problem that needed to be solved that we were passionate about, even coming from completely different industries. I think Xander and I found ourselves really commiserating about this problem that we faced every day, in which we'd wake up. I was in New York City at the time. Xander was in DC, and we'd wake up, set out to have these great days, start early in the gym in the morning, go from the gym to the office to a client dinner, happy hour, whatever it was, business, travel, leisure. And we just constantly found ourselves carrying this multitude of bags, gym bags, garment bags, briefcases, and functionally and aesthetically, it just really it created so many problems. And we just figured there had to be a better way. One bag out there that functionally and aesthetically could really serve us on those great jam-packed days. And so that's kind of how our former day jobs and lives in the corporate world led us to kind of bonding over this problem and deciding we wanted to try to solve it.
Wow. And when was that? What was that, a few years back, like a specific time?
Yeah, it was a while back now. It was April of 2019, so just over 6 years ago was when Xander and I, we were always chatting while Xander was in DC, and we always had this entrepreneurial spirit together, bouncing ideas off of each other every so often. And this was one where we both found it ourselves. We saw people around us facing this issue too, and we're like, this is something that feels like we could try to solve it. So that was our first conversation. Xander came back to New York, and we sat down in his mom's living room, and that was the first official chat of FTL. And yeah, about 6 years later, we're here.
Wow. And how long did it take from kind of that initial idea in 2019 to like prototype and actually, starting a brand?
Yeah, it was I'll go for it, Z.
It took, I would say, from that first conversation to when we finally had a market ready prototype where we're like, this thing rocks, let's go. Let's start selling this, was probably 3.5 years. And I'll put a couple asterisks on that 3.5 years because it shouldn't have been that long, but I think there were two main things. One is we were both working full-time jobs. So this really was a side of desk passion project. But we could only work on it early mornings, late nights, weekends. And two, we had really virtually no money to invest in this. So while we could have gone and hired someone to design us a product or worked with a US based prototype manufacturer and paid a lot of money to get this done in 2 months, we bootstrapped the whole thing. So that's one reason, kind of like the limited time and resources that took a long time. And then the second thing is kind of right in the middle, a year and a half into this product development, and we're starting to get some samples done, and we're starting to build relationships with factories, and things are starting to accelerate. COVID happened, and so all factories shut down, and that probably set us back another 6 to 9 months. But so end to end, it was 3.5 years, ups and downs, and we probably in that time went through at least 15 prototypes of the bag, each one getting slightly better and slightly better and slightly better until we finally got to one where we're like, okay, we can sell this. We can sell this. Like we love this thing. We want to use this thing. So let's go and see if other people feel the same way.
That's awesome. And when was the official launch where you guys were selling this first public rendition of the product?
Yeah. We launched kind of over a couple phases. Again, like Xander said, we had to act a little bit slowly, but we were trying to be strategic and cautious, and we didn't have all this money that we could dump into it off the bat. So we tried to do it strategically. We launched to friends and family with about 300 units in December of 2021, which we were able to sell through really purely organically through our networks and friends of friends, which was great and was kind of phase one of our launch. Then after we sold through those units the following year, our next phase was we did a Kickstarter. So we spent 6 months working on a crowdfunding campaign that we launched in May of 2023 and had a really successful 30-day campaign where we did about 350 bags and about $90,000 in sales in that month-long campaign. And I think that's what really gave Xander and I the courage and conviction that this was a problem and our product had product market fit, and it was like, all right, there's something here. That was our first foray into the public eye. It wasn't just friends and friends of friends wanting to support. Like, this was people, strangers giving us their money for this product, and we're like, there's something here. So that we used that to go out and buy about 2,000 units, finally operate like a true e-commerce company where people want a bag, they want it like 6 hours later for a trip, not 6 months in advance. So we were finally able to deliver on that, get them their products in a few days. So I would say officially launched as our kind of current e-commerce state in October of 2023. And then after 6 months there operating fully and seeing some really positive trajectory and momentum, we left our corporate jobs at the same time in April of 2024.
Wow. It's exciting. And how has this, like, let's call it like first year out of the corporate world been for you guys, like running this startup full time?
So it's I would say every morning I wake up and I feel so unbelievably happy and blessed to get to work with Ryan on FTL and grow this business and work on something that's so interesting and exciting and accretive to my life, and working with people I love, hearing from customers that are using and loving a product that we designed and built. And then I'd say every night I go to bed so exhausted and drained and think, how can I do this again tomorrow? And then I wake up and I'm so excited to be able to do it. So it's a roller coaster, and the highs are like so high, and the excitement and passion that we have is like genuinely through the roof. But it needs to be, because you deal with so much difficult things, from production issues, financing issues, really tough strategic decisions. Like the decision fatigue is a real thing. There's no manager or boss to look to and say, what should we do here? It feels like every day we're making 5 decisions with not enough information that feel like they're make or break on the company. So it's a lot, and it's draining. And I love every moment of it.
That's so cool. And I'm curious, since like over the past year, obviously, I think that's where you guys have really gotten a lot of the momentum, like going full time on this. What's been that one growth lever that's helped you guys, kind of feed the momentum in the business right now? Is it a marketing channel? Is it a distribution partner? Like, what is it that you guys are doing to essentially, sell more bags and grow this thing?
Yeah, it's a great and super important question. So right now, about 80% of our business comes direct to consumer. So we're marketing through Meta and Google and paid media channels like that, along with just our organic channels. But I think what was really a huge catalyst and something that allows us to be profitable in that space, which is super competitive and super saturated, is we've been fortunate enough to get our product into the hands of lots of athletes. Well, I'd say our core demographic is business travelers and, males who are in cities or frequent travelers for business, leisure. We also have a great fit with athletes because they're professional travelers too. They're constantly on the road. They want to look good. They want to stay organized. And there was a moment in the FTL journey that I think is definitely up there as one of our favorites, which was a few years ago. Xander and I are lifelong New Yorkers, Giants fans, all New York sports. And this was about 2-3 years ago. We're just like trying to figure out how can we advance this ball forward? What can we do to kind of keep things moving? We're waiting for samples. We're waiting for just like certain things to be hit. And we were just firing off messages at all our favorite players. Hey, we have this new travel bag. We'd love to get into your hands. And I think we probably sent about a few hundred just cold DMs to some of our favorite athletes. And very understandably, no one responded, except for one gentleman by the name of Graham Gano, who is the New York Giants kicker. And 3 months later, a message popped up. He's like, hey, fellas, like, really appreciate you reaching out. Would love to try the bag. And we're just like, it was just an amazing moment. And we were going to just send him one, but it happened to be around the time of Giants preseason, which is open to the public. And we're like, you know what? Let's not just send him one. Let's make him one, have his initials put on there. We'll go get tickets to the Giants practice. We'll go out. We'll tell him we'll be there, and hopefully we can give it to him in person and, maybe get a picture. And it just kind of goes to show you just never know where things go. But Graham couldn't have been nicer. He's like, absolutely, I'll get you guys on the list. Would love to meet you. We go out, bring it to him. And not only get to just meet him and give it to him in person, but build this awesome friendship where he's been such a big supporter. We took tons of content. We ended up putting that into our marketing materials. And that was a huge catalyst in growing in the sports world. And I think leveraging sports and getting into the hands of athletes really purely organically has really helped us with our marketing, because people aspire to be high performers, and these athletes are always at the top, and they're traveling, and that has really been helpful in our marketing efforts, in our ads and on our website, social proof, etc. So that's been a big way we've really been able to get to this point so far.
Wow, that's awesome.
I'll just add quickly. There was beyond that initial story, there was such a great snowball effect of then, Graham had his bag. He loved it. He wanted to get a holiday gift for the whole team. In December, he came back to us and said, hey, can you do bags for the whole roster? And we hooked up the whole Giants team. And then that led to Ken Griffey Jr. reaching out, wanting to get bags for an event he was doing with the MLB and buying, I think 100 bags. And then the Houston Texans were next, and then some universities. And there's been this really good snowball effect of pro sports and collegiate sports reaching out. And I think the reason why we're able to snowball it is we try to tell these stories very authentically on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, email marketing, on our website, of just like these cool things that are happening to our brand and to us. And I think they're engaging stories that people are listening to because they're interesting. And then there's some social proof in there of, oh, hey, if it worked for the Houston Texans, it'll work for my organization. And it's snowballed, and now beyond sports teams, we're doing a lot of businesses and being able to put their custom logo on our bags for the folks at their company who are traveling and trying to go to the gym before the office or doing overnight work trips. So I think it's about when these cool moments happen to your brand, finding ways to share that story and making sure that it does snowball and people are engaging with that content and hearing that content. And then it creates new content, and then you share that, and that creates new stories and you share that. So I think we'd probably be in a different spot if when the Gano thing or the Ken Griffey Jr. thing or the Houston Texans thing, when those moments happened, if we didn't share them, we just, oh, this was cool, and then kept it to ourselves, I don't think we would have had this chain reaction.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you guys are doing the right way. I mean, in the most organic form of like sports marketing, influencer marketing that you can do is like building relationships with people directly, treating them like humans, and then doing something special. I think too many times like influencer marketing gets treated like prostitution these days, where it's like it's like this like transactional thing, and it's not building any relationships with anyone. And most brands are always wondering why they don't have any momentum with it. And it's because you got to treat people like humans, and building that relationship is going to snowball into other things versus just a one-time transactional relationship.
Yeah, I think that's such a great point, Mark. And Xander and I, like we said, it's been bootstrapped. So there's been plenty of times where agents have reached out or people like, hey, would love to seed your product to a whole roster of folks, or I have this client, it's going to cost X dollars. And like, we'd love to try it, but we simply just didn't have the capital, which I think was a blessing and a curse, but really a blessing because it's forced us to go seek out individuals who actually like the product, who actually get value out of the product, and build relationships like that. And I think when somebody sees that story that Xander alluded to, like it just shows it's so much more authentic than the typical paid posts you see these days. And I think that is really encouraging and valuable to customers and our story, and would simply, I would say like look for those real relationships, build those relationships. Like you just never know where they're going to go. And it definitely has played a huge role in kind of our journey to date.
That's awesome. And you guys are doing, like you said, once you have those extremely compelling assets, then you double down and use those social proof, viral proof, like ads to then, retarget and have the ads do their job. Yeah. Versus trying to shove something down someone's throat. Yeah. Well, I think too, you guys have done like an incredible job with like developing a product that has like a utility and a reason why. I think, too many times, like you see a new bag company come to market and it's just another bag company. It's like got another logo on it. It's got another print. It's got a little unique style. But I think, hearing that you guys are solving this problem, which I think anyone that's commuted before and especially lives in a big city or is an athlete or is, whatever it is, knows that it's a challenge to understand how to just, pack for the day. And, if you want to go to the gym, if you want to go to the office, if you also want to functionally like be presentable versus carrying a dirty gym bag with you, you guys solve such a unique product. And then the vision of who's using that product too. It's peak performers, right? Whether you're a peak performer in the office or a peak performer on the court, or in the gym, like you're attracting a higher value type of individual to use the product, which is really cool.
I think you just hit the nail on the head and said so well, something that Ryan and I have been trying to build towards since the beginning. Which is, if you go all the way back to that day in 2019 when we were sitting on the floor of my mom's apartment talking about this idea to build a bag, we said, well, why do we think this would fail? And one of the first reasons that came to mind was like, because it's a nameless brand. It doesn't mean anything. We know, buying something is partially a rational decision, and it feels like we've got that. If we build a great product, we'll have that rational decision in the buyer's mind, checked, but it's also an emotional decision, and we need to appeal to the emotions, and we want to create a brand that has like a real mission and values and stands for something. And so we started thinking about these days that we were at the root of the problem of waking up, going to the gym, going to the office, going to a dinner, meeting friends, and they were like such amazing days. And yeah, you left them tired at the end, but they're like our favorite types of days. And so we said, hey, not only do we want a bag and a product that helps facilitate and unlock these days, but we want this brand to help inspire those days. When you see that FTL logo, it's just a reminder of like, this is why I do it. Like, let's have a great day today. When you're packing the bag, it should get you excited. And so it's why we named the brand FTL, which stands for the love. For the love of what? It's kind of up to the customer to decide. But hopefully this is, not just a bag to help you on those days, but a bag and a brand to inspire those days. And a lot of our branding and what we're trying to put out into the world and the content, again, is sharing what great days mean to us, what great days mean to our customers, making people think, what does a great day mean to me, and how can I have those more? And so, yeah, like you were saying, being able to have the bags in the hands of these athletes is great because they are such high performers, and I think help us build that brand ethos of like trying to be a high performer on whatever it is that you do for the love. Maybe for Paul Skeens or Aaron Judge, it's baseball, but for like me and Ryan, it's being an entrepreneur, and for some of our clients who are pilots, it's being a pilot, or if you're a dad, it's being a dad, or if your mom, like so many, whatever it is in life, like we want to try to celebrate those best days.
So cool. Next I want to ask, like, obviously bootstrapping a business like this is a feat of its own, right? Financially, like how have you guys been managing cash flow and kind of projections and just the financial aspect of this business? Have you guys raised any money up to this point? Or are you still 100% bootstrapped?
Yeah, so I'm sure we both have a few things to say here, but we both still own the business 50-50. At the beginning, I think there was no fundraising to be had. We went out and did a pre-sale to friends and family. From there, we did a Kickstarter, which helped us get some more units in the door. And then we took that Kickstarter as sort of a case study and went out to friends and family to get a little bit of a loan for inventory, because that's our biggest capital constraint. We've got some other financial instruments that have helped us scale to this size, but it's a decision that we kind of kick back and forth every single day. I think we always wanted to take this as far as humanly possible while still owning the entire business, but at a certain point you have tough decisions to make, and you're like, are you shooting yourself in the foot by not going out and raising a little bit of extra cash to put fuel on the marketing fire? So it's been super great and rewarding in some ways. It's also been incredibly stressful in other ways. You have a bad day, a bad week, which is inevitable with any startup business, and you're just like looking at each other like, shit, how are we gonna do XYZ this month? So it's certainly something that we are exploring more and more, because again, we see a lot of great momentum, and we want to capitalize, and sometimes it just takes money to do so. So that's what we might end up doing. But Z, I'll let you jump in.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult, especially for a product-based company. It's capital intensive. We need to typically buy inventory before we can sell inventory. And like Ryan was saying, in the early days, we did pre-sales to friends and family, Kickstarters. Every cent we made just got rolled into more inventory, so we could slowly scale. And then we've a line of credit through a bank here, working on Shopify Capital to bridge a gap there. So there have been some other like debt instruments we've pulled in over time, working on a bigger SBA loan now to help us scale. But it's been a long, difficult road, and that's kind of always been the bottleneck, I think, is inventory. And the thing that's preventing inventory is having like a lot of capital to purchase inventory. But we've made it work so far. But yeah, hopefully this SBA loan closes soon, and that'll be really great for us to be able to get a lot of inventory in the door, and because we do sell a lot of SKUs.
Which is a good problem and a bad problem to have, because I'm assuming those SKUs are probably your top performing ads. And so you spend all this time, you get momentum, you hit that target ROAS, and then you're out. And, and then things slow down. Yeah. And also too, like, all these social, social shopping platforms, Meta Shop, TikTok Shop, Google Shopping, like they hate when you run out of inventory, at the end of the day. So good and bad problem to have. But with that being said, what are some of your guys' short-term goals like over the next year with the business? Is it certain revenue number? Is it to more of stabilize, hire a bigger team? What are your goals now? You guys have been in this a little over a year, like full time. I think you said April 2024 is when you guys made the leap. Being, July 2025, where do you guys want to be by the end of Q2 next year?
Yeah, it's a great and timely question because we just did our quarterly planning. But the first thing I'll say is, I'll caveat the saying this: it's never linear. I think we've learned that in the last 15 months that you have a plan and things change all the time, for better and for worse. So I think Xander and I have learned pretty quickly that you got to just go with the flow. I think the biggest goal between kind of last year starting full time and this year has kind of been stop working in the business and start working on the business. And a lot of that was operational. So things that really didn't move the needle forward, like big picture wise, but if you didn't pay attention to it, it could easily just like crater the business. So for instance, like customer management, like we have customers reaching out every day. Hey, can I get a tracking number?
Customer
Hey, where's
support.
my bag? Hey, can I exchange this? Hey, this didn't come with this. Hey, what's the timing on this? And it's stuff that just takes you off the ball from moving the big picture stuff forward. And it just really was time consuming. So that plus inventory ordering and operational efficiencies and stuff. So Q1 really was a ton about systematizing that so we could get back to like the bigger picture stuff that really moves us forward. And that's kind of where we've landed now. So I'll say in the next year, we're looking to scale. Last year, we were happy with where we shook out after our first full year. This year, we're hoping to be anywhere from 3 to 4x that. So that's definitely one goal. I think building out these new sales channels. Again, we're 80% direct to consumer. I think we really want to bolster our large format sale capabilities. We've gotten a ton of inbounds and now we want to start investing in the partnerships, the corporations, more sports teams, etc., and then other direct to consumer channels, affiliates, influencer, stuff of that nature that will help us diversify a little bit from these paid channels and just create other streams of revenue. Xander, did I miss anything?
No, I think you nailed. Oh, maybe the only other thing I'll add is starting to think about new products. So we launched initially with one, our hero product. We're now up to 3 products. One of which, so we have the duffel bag in 2 sizes and 2 different pocket layouts. We have the FTL Lite. Our hero product is the FTL Original. We have the FTL Lite, which is a smaller version of it, better for just like a day bag. Don't need to carry as much, but still looks great. Organized, laptop sleeve, shoe compartment, interior pockets. And then we have the FTL Max, which is the same size as the FTL Original, but a slightly different pocket layout and construction. But I think thinking about where we are Q2 next year, like would love to have some more products, probably a backpack. But we'll see. We're in the early stages right now of product research and development on that next product. So evaluating a couple different categories, and then when we figure out which one we want to go forward with, we'll start doubling down onto that product development process.
Very cool. And how's the organization structured right now? I know you guys were saying you had some, kind of starting to work on the business versus in the business. So you guys have a team that's working underneath you?
So we've built it really with freelancers, agencies. I think at the end of last year, or like Q4 of last year, was really just like me and Ryan. We brought in a customer support and operations folk who is offshore and just amazing to work with and takes so much off our plate, from managing helping deal with customers and small tasks, tracking down where orders are, helping manage our supply chain. And then we have a sourcing agent who handles a lot of the supply chain stuff with us, from finding factories to inspecting the goods before they leave to freight forwarding. We have 3 different fulfillment companies that kind of, one's focused on international fulfillment, one's focused on embroidery and customized fulfillment, and one's focused on standard fulfillment. We have a couple different freelancers doing everything from email marketing to content creation to affiliate outreach. So, we're probably a team of like 10 or 12, but no one's a W-2 full-time
Sure.
employee. It's kind of a lean, mean fighting machine of everyone who has their own area of expertise and works alongside Ryan and myself, which when Ryan was talking about kind of like shoring up operations in the first half of this year so we can work on the business, a lot of that was implementing new systems and processes and technologies so that things just work better. But a lot of that was bringing on these people and training them and figuring out a working model with them so that we don't need to spend so much time doing everything from reconciling our QuickBooks to creating variation of static images to finding the cheapest freight forwarding quote for a given production. So now I think a lot of these tasks are off our plate and we can focus on some of the more interesting stuff that we feel like really founders should be doing, building the brand, building new products, hiring and training.
Absolutely. Where do you guys see FTL brands going like over the next, 4 to 5 years? What would you guys like to see this brand look like then?
Yeah, I'll go first and let Xander go as well. Although I think our answers hopefully are pretty similar. It's obviously something that's super important. Even 5 years away, I think it's really pivotal to align with the team and your co-founder on kind of the long-term vision. For me, I think FTL in 4 to 5 years, ideally, is a globally recognized travel goods company. I think one that has, a myriad of products ranging from our original duffel bags and the family we've built around that to backpacks to roller bags. I think from a brand perspective, it's something known that's aspirational, that, like Xander said before, it inspires great days and celebrates great days. And I think now, like, more and more we get texts from our friends, like, just spotted an FTL in the wild, just spotted up. We get pictures from the subway, the airports, and like it's like the coolest day maker of all time. And it actually happened to me and Xander once, like years ago, but I still haven't seen one since. So I'm hoping that my FTL wild story will come soon, but I'm hoping in 4 to 5 years it's a mainstay in airports, on trains, and we just constantly look around and see these products everywhere. And still, even if we've grown by then, hopefully tremendously, it's still a very founder-led company. I think that's how we've been able to get here. I think we love talking to customers. We love hearing feedback. We love hearing how these products inspires people's best days, or they get pictures or reviews from customers. It truly makes us smile. And I hope that is also a main pillar in 4 to 5 years, despite all the new products and all the global reach that hopefully FTL has.
That's awesome. I think you guys have a really solid idea on where you guys want to go with this. And it's so cool to see just where you guys have taken this thing from 2019 to obviously, over the last couple of years, prototyping to going full time in a year. I think you guys have a very bright future ahead of you.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. It means a lot.
Yeah. Well, kind of, I know we're wrapping up on time, but, thank you guys so much for coming on today. And, I like to always end up, like to finish up where can people get in touch with you or learn more about FTL as a brand?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of different ways. So FTLbags.com is our website. We're on Instagram at FTLbags. Ryan and I are the ones looking at the Instagram page inbox every day. So if you shoot us a DM on Instagram, if you have any questions or any thoughts or want to reach out, like we will see it and respond within a couple hours. And then hello@ftlbags.com is an email address where you can get in contact with us as well. We love hearing from customers, prospective customers, people have ideas about things we can do from a product standpoint, marketing standpoint, who want to try out the bag. So yeah, we that's like one of our favorite parts is getting to interact with people and build products they love and use. So definitely check us out and reach out.
Awesome. Thanks guys so much for joining me today. This was a lot of fun and it was great meeting you guys.
Great to meet you too. Appreciate you having us, and awesome to share a little bit more about FTL with you and everybody.
Awesome. Thanks Ryan. Thanks Xander. Appreciate it. See ya.
Thanks, Mark.